Hey everybody, this is Ryan McClanahan with historythroughcards.com. I hope you're all doing very well today. So I was reading an article from 1911 about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and I thought this was really interesting. And I wanted to look to see if there were any cards of these guys. And there are no contemporary cards of when they were robbing trains or whatever they were doing, hiding gold and treasure and all this other stuff, and robbing banks. But you guys probably know Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid from the movie from 1969 starring Robert Redford and Paul Newman. And probably two of my all-time favorite actors too. Um, I have a confession to make. I actually have never seen that movie, but it is on my list, and I have seen a lot of these guys' movies before. Um, I have some problems with the narrative here, the official narrative of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and what has been said over the last decades, literally decades, and especially with Hollywood's version of events. I'm not a big fan of Hollywood at all, and I make fun of it as much as humanly possible. But I do want to read this article to you guys, and then I'm going to explain a little bit more about what I think is going on here. So here we go. This is from the Billings Gazette, Billings, Montana, February 4th, 1911. Suspect is not Butch Cassidy. Post office robber held at Bozeman is not the notorious outlaw. Bozeman, February 3rd. Information from Wyoming sources withheld by the authorities tonight practically shattered any hopes that one of the two men under arrest here for post office robberies in Montana and Wyoming is Butch Cassidy, the famous outlaw companion of Kid Curry, for whom the officers have been searching for a decade. Henderson and Davis are the names given by the two prisoners, and in the course of Henderson's confession, the post office robbers at Logan, Montana, and Monarch, Wyoming, he asserted that his companion was Butch Cassidy, giving the name of a Wyoming man to corroborate his statement. The Wyoming man declares that he knows both Butch Cassidy and Davis, and although Davis resembles Cassidy in stature and manner of scars on his face, the latter is in Argentine, South America, on a ranch. All right, let's dive into this. This is absolutely fascinating because over the last, I don't know, 90 to 100 decades or so, it's been reported that both Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were killed in a Bolivian army shootout on November 6th, 1908. Now, if they're looking for these two guys in 1911, clearly they believe that these guys are still alive. And the fact is that the Pinkerton Detective Agency supposedly sent somebody down to Bolivia to make sure that these guys are dead or confirm that they were dead. And that's not what happened at all. Generally, uh, a photograph is usually taken of the body. Even then, it was really commonplace for an outlaw to, when he had been killed, to have had his photograph taken by either marshals or law enforcement so that the law enforcement official could get paid for his bounty. So that's usually what happened. And in this case, there is no evidence whatsoever to suggest that either of these guys had died. And it was actually said too that Lula Parker Bentonson, she was the younger sister of Butch Cassidy, I believe, Leroy Parker. She had said back in the 1920s and 30s that he would stop by the family farm and visit. So we don't know exactly what happened to Etta Place, who was the girlfriend, maybe the wife of Henry Longabaugh, who is the Sundance Kid. She has never been found she's been basically lost to history. And really, if Henry Longawa had also survived too, it has been said that he passed away in 1936, and that Leroy Parker had passed away a year after that in 1937. And so they've been actually searching for these two guys for a very long time. And I believe the first time I ever heard of this was on Unsolved Mysteries. But there was a guy who said that he was Parker back in the 1930s or 1940s, and he had actually died in, like, I think maybe 37. But he is no longer considered to be a candidate of choice because well, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that he had kind of tried to pass himself off as one of the gentlemen, and it just was a no-go. I have never seen any evidence to suggest that either of these guys did die when the media had said they died. They tried to find evidence at the San Vicente cemetery maybe 20 years ago, and they couldn't find anything. And so, if they were killed and they were buried there, they probably wouldn't be able to find them. I don't think. There's just a lot of questions here, and there's not too many answers. And I wouldn't really rely on Wikipedia for any answers either. I don't understand why Wikipedia has to be the first place that is, YouTube is going to try to tell people that yes, this stuff happened, when we just don't have really any of the answers to these questions. What happened? When did it happen? Is there any evidence? And so far, there isn't any evidence to support what Wikipedia has said, or the FBI for that matter, because the FBI says that the Sundance Kid and Butch Cassidy had both died in 1908. Show me the proof. If there's a little bit of proof out there, I'm very much willing to concede that both of these guys died when they said that they have died. I just don't see it. Could it be that these guys died in 1908, or did they die in 1936 and 1937? We just don't know. This is one of the great mysteries of the Wild West, and there's so many mysteries when it is surrounding the Wild West. These guys are fascinating. Obviously, they're huge pop culture figures and historical figures too. When it comes to this stuff, don't rely on mainstream sources for information because you don't know where A, they're getting this stuff from, and B, again, like, why is Wikipedia the first place that they go to for information on this? I don't really trust Wikipedia at all. And for journalists, almost every good journalist that I know of, they don't go to Wikipedia first. It is flawed. And in one of my videos, um, YouTube actually put up a disclaimer from Wikipedia about alien abduction. It was in regards to the Frederick Valentinich case, in which he was supposedly abducted by or taken by aliens, or something happened where his plane ended up disappearing after a strange UFO encounter. And the next thing I know, Wikipedia is giving a disclaimer about what happened, and it ruined my video. So thanks, YouTube. I really appreciate that, you bastards. And so, um, just be careful of the sources that you read from, and obviously make up your own minds whether or not you think that these two guys died the way they did, or they escaped, and or they paid off the Bolivian army. That could always be a case too. And like I say, the other guy too, he's not mentioned here, but well, barely, is Kid Curry. And Kid Curry, his body has been photographed from a 1904 incident in which it said that he had killed himself. There's actually a lot of speculation now that that might not have occurred the way they said it did either, and it might not be Kid Curry's photograph that was taken. It could have been somebody else's. They do have other photographs of people from or gang members of the Hole in the Wall gang that were killed, and one guy in like 1912 that Ben something, I forget his last name, but they definitely have his photograph because he was killed in a train robbery in 1912. A lot of the Hole in the Wall gang members did pass away. Etta Place, who is supposed to be the girlfriend or the wife of uh, Henry Langbaugh, again, they don't know what happened to her at all. There's no record of her after these incidences. And so again, how much do we actually know? How much actually occurred that we just kind of skipped over or just pretended it didn't happen because it's inconvenient, or that the law enforcement officials didn't quite do their job or their due diligence, because these both of these guys ended up leaving the United States in about 1902, and they were down in South America, and if you thought that the Wild West was crazy, um, check out South America in the early 1900s, and it's nothing is reliable. Honestly, that's the one thing that you're gonna find throughout the history of the Wild West into the early 20th century is that not many accounts are reliable sources, and obviously this is from 1911, this accounting, and they're still looking for both of these guys. So they don't think that they're dead. Obviously, if they're questioning in articles in 1911, 1912, 1913, while other articles are saying yes, these guys are definitely dead. Nobody knows exactly what happened because we don't have the evidence to support that they're died in 1908. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and what your thoughts are. So, again, thank you, and I will talk to you in another video. Have a good one. Bye.